Hi, I'm Kimberly.
And I'm Sherry.
Let us tell you a little bit about our podcast,
Lemonade and Sunshine. We're going to be talking to real people who have made lemonade with the lemons in their lives to help strengthen other people with their challenges.
We all need to know that there's hope and light even on our darkest days. And if you've ever felt alone in your struggles, and who hasn't, come and listen and sip lemonade in the sunshine
with us.
Welcome back to Lemonade and Sunshine. Sherry and I sat down with Sherry's friend, Teri, and she is amazing. And she is going to talk to us about gratitude today. And in talking about gratitude, there were a lot of references to positive thinking. And she talks about her energy work. For me, when I think of energy work, it's had a little bit of a negative connotation. And I know some people feel that way also. But what I've learned in trying to have an open mind and listening to what Teri had to say is that really what it is, the energy she's talking about is spirit. Right, Sherry?
When you think of it in those terms, it's easier to kind of understand, and it's not this way out there theory or idea.
Yes, Sherry, I think it's kind of like when you feel positive vibe or a negative vibe coming from a person. When you're around somebody that's very positive, you feel more uplifted and more positive. And same thing you could say about when you're with someone who's more negative, that you feel that energy spirit.
Oh, for sure.
And that's what Teri says. Just to start out for gratitude, there's a few quotes that I wanted to share. Gratitude is one of the strongest and most transformative states of being. It shifts your perspective from lack to abundance and allows you to focus on the good in your life, which in turn pulls more goodness into your reality. That was just a quote that I found. And then another quote, President Russell M. Nelson said, "Practicing gratitude may not prevent us from experiencing sorrow, anger, or pain, but it can help us look forward with hope. We can give thanks for our loved ones, for our bodies and minds, for music and literature, for the beauty of the natural world. By counting our blessings, we can more fully appreciate and enjoy our lives as we work toward greater unity, kindness, honesty, and tolerance." And I just love that quote. Sherry and I also just want to say that we are so grateful that you are here with us on the podcast.
Teri Darty is a great friend of mine, and I'm so excited to have her here. I've known Teri for 7 years, and it's a funny story. Teri's heard me say it before, but the first time I saw her walk in a room, I said, "Oh yeah, her and I are going to be good friends." And we are. And I just knew she was my kind of people. Teri does energy work. She's been doing energy work for over 20 years and has actually co-created her own energy work modality called the light switch. She'll talk a little bit about energy work, but today we're going to talk with Teri about gratitude. And it's hard to pick one topic for Teri to talk about because I feel like she's so well versed in so many things. She could talk on a lot of great subjects with her knowledge and life experience. But Teri has 5 wonderful kids and 8 beautiful grandkids who she loves so much. And she's just an amazing person. I could just gush for hours about Teri. So I'm so excited that you're here with us today. Can you tell us, Teri, just a little bit in case people are like, energy work, it sounds so woo-woo and out there. And I know some people have a hard time understanding how that connects to Jesus Christ or the gospel. And I know because I've witnessed Teri and her faith, I know that Teri gives all the glory to God, and I want her to kind of explain how energy work works for her and all the many people that she's helped around the world.
Thanks, Sherry. You're too kind. So energy work really is kind of basic science. So everything you see and everything you don't see is energy. And a few things about energy: it knows no time, distance, or space. It can't lie. It doesn't know how. It is a form of communication, a higher form than verbal. It's how animals communicate, babies communicate. but it's also how we communicate. But somewhere in between childhood and adulthood, we start thinking instead of feeling. So if you have ever been on a horse and somebody said, don't fear because the horse will sense it. Well, the horse doesn't say this idiot on my back is scared. I'm going to buck him off and run home. The horse just senses the energy of fear. And so runs away. So if you have a baby that doesn't like someone, you need to pay attention. So because we are energy and we are energy. So if you were looking in a mirror and everything physical was gone, you would see a bright, energetic being of light. That's our spirit, our energy, our spirit. Spirit and energy are basically the same thing. We know that we were organized, that God took unorganized matter and intelligence and organized it into the world. That's what we do with our thoughts. So even the thoughts you have are energy. Your emotions are energy. So have you ever met someone right off and you're like, nah, I don't know. I don't think I want to be around this person. That's because we carry everything that we think, say, and do in our energy field. So according to them, whoever they are, 95% of our lives are driven from our subconscious mind, which really is our spirit body. So when we developed this modality of energy work, it was with the intention of using light. And we know what light it is. It's the light of Christ. So it's called energy healing with light, the light switch. So we want to switch everything back to the light. Okay. So because you're an energetic being and energy knows no time, distance, or space, you can gather information from your past and see if you have negative and limiting beliefs and negative emotions that are blocking you from moving forward. So it's not voodoo, it's science. And we know who the great scientist is, Jesus Christ. And so you can't make new energy over here or dissipate old energy over here. All you can do is switch the energy. So for instance, you can switch anger to peace. You can switch hate to love. And love and peace are going to vibrate at a higher frequency than anger and hate. So all energy has a frequency. Okay. If you look at your house plants, they have an intelligence and a frequency. They're not as intelligent as you because you have a choice. So everything is energy. That's just a basic scientific fact. And so it's not like, I tell people all the time, I might be psycho, but I am not a psychic. But you can test energy and muscle testing, applied kinesiology. When you make a statement that is your truth, it's going to be strong. Your body will be strong. When you make a statement that is negative for you, it weakens your physical body. That's because of your energy. And so energy, spirit, same thing, what we're talking about. So it's just a way to pay attention to your thoughts. You can change your thoughts. You can change your energy frequency.
I love that. It's awesome. I've been privileged to have her do some work on me. Well, quite a bit actually. And she's amazing. And I'm not a type of person that has to have everything on paper to know why it works. It just does for me. In switching your intention, I think that goes into what we're talking about with gratitude. In what way do you think gratitude changes our perspective when we are having hardships or struggles?
Well, the frequency of gratitude is high. It's a higher frequency. It's almost the same as the frequency of love. There's a book called Power versus Force written by David R. Hawkins. And he talks about frequencies of certain emotions, feelings. And so I know for some people, it's hard for them to get out of their head and back into their heart, but we need both. They need to be connected and using them both. So when you switch a situation or a feeling or an experience to the energy of gratitude, it is a total game changer in your life. And I'm talking about even if you look back at experiences that were hard, maybe, some sort of abuse or grief in your life or things that happened that you didn't expect. And you say, well, how can I find the gratitude in that? You can do that by finding appreciation. What did you learn about you from this experience? Let's say you had a really ugly divorce. Well, what did you learn about yourself? Did you learn that you can be stronger? Did you learn that you can own your power and not be taken advantage of or be abused? So changing anything to the energy of gratitude is a game changer because it's a high frequency emotion, feeling.
Right. Okay. Do you have a methodology for that, or how do we actually change that in our brains?
It's your thoughts. Here's an example. You're looking through a magazine and you come across a picture of this cruise ship on the Caribbean Ocean and you're like, oh, I'm going on a cruise to the Caribbean because it's so beautiful and that's what you want to do. The formless substance of the universe, the unorganized intelligence goes, okay, it's neutral energy. It goes, okay. And it starts putting everything into place for you to go on that cruise if it's God's will. Okay. And so you shut the magazine and 6 months later, here you are on the Caribbean on a cruise, right? But maybe when you're looking at that magazine, you slam it shut and say, that's never going to happen. The formless substance of the universe goes, okay, and it stops creating it. That's how powerful our minds are. And in reality, that's how prayers are answered. We create our world that we live in with our thoughts.
So it's more than just the power of positive thinking. It is, that sounds so cliche and trivial in a way.
It's faith, it sounds like, right? It's having the faith. And I'm curious, when you talk about energy work, are you letting go of negative to allow the positive to enter?
Yes. So if let's say that you have a situation and you're angry, okay? And the energy of angry is a low frequency and it's actually a mask for fear. 100% of the time, the emotion of anger is a mask for fear. So if you're driving down the road and somebody pulls out in front of you and you slam on your brake and you're angry and you're cursing them out and, doing whatever you do, first of all, you've just given your energy to them, your power. And you can instantly say, you know what? It's okay. Maybe this person is on the way to the hospital. Maybe they didn't see me. Maybe they're in a hurry. It doesn't matter. What matters is how you feel, and you can change that by changing your thought. Okay. And so it's really important to focus on your thought and be aware. Becoming aware of your thoughts is extremely important. So I always tell people, they're like, well, what can I do? And my best advice is to watch yourself talk. What are you saying in your mind or out loud to yourself, about someone else? And if it's negative, change it. So if you feel anger towards a person, that's a child of God. We're commanded to love our fellow man. Does it mean we have to invite him for dinner? No. But you can switch that energy to love and gratitude, or the person pulls out in front of you and you end up not hitting them. Be grateful for that. So shift your focus from this so-and-so just pulled out in front of me to, I'm so glad that nobody's hurt. I hope you have a great day. Find the peace in your heart and you won't even think about it again. Sometimes it takes practice.
We all have hard people in our lives, or difficult people, or challenges and struggles. When we're able to switch our perspective and think in the terms that you said, like, what am I learning from this? And how is this helping me to grow?
And it takes time. If you want to change, there's 3 things. First, you have to have the desire. So let's say you don't want the desire to be negative anymore. Well, then you have to have the will to change that. It's like the piano. If you want to play the piano, first you have to have the desire to play. Second, you have to have the will. So you have to get a piano, get a teacher, get your books and set up some lessons, right? The third thing is you have to practice. So change, whether you want to call it change or repentance, you have to have a desire to change. You have to have the will, which means making different choices. And then you have to practice it. And then you get really good at it. And so with difficult people in our life, it's called letting go of the outcome of who the person is. Can you fix them? No. Can you change them? No. Can you force them to be different? No. Can you control them? No. That's called letting go of the outcome. So pretend that you and that person are standing across the room from each other, and in between you is a rope, and you're both pulling on the rope. It's a tug of war. Well, why aren't they doing this? Well, I don't know. And then you make the choice to let go of the rope. What does that do for you?
You're free.
Yes, it frees you. Letting go of the outcome is like gratitude. It's a game changer. And again, going back to Carolyn Mays says in her book, Anatomy of the Spirit, every person that comes in your life is a gift. You have to figure out what the gift is. Challenge A. Okay, so that might take some pondering and praying. And, it's a really long story. I won't tell it, but I prayed about a person in my life. I could not figure out for the life of me why this person was in my life. And I saw it and I knew, and it was very clear to me. Do you want me to tell you why? I was told that he was my opposition. He was my demon. I had a very bright light and poof, in comes the adversary to destroy it. I was also told that I had overcome it. But that's because of all the work I did. Forgiveness, love, kindness. 3 things that keep people in a lower frequency energy is denial, excuses, and blame. So denying that there's anything wrong, using excuses like Johnny, if his parents tell him to clean his room, it's like, well, it's not dirty. That's denial. And then they say, well, your room's really dirty. You need to clean it. And the next thing is, well, I have to go to soccer practice and eat dinner and do my homework. Those are excuses. And the parents say, well, you're finished with all of that at 6:30. You have plenty of time to clean your room. And the next one is, well, Timmy and Susie are the ones that made it dirty. Look, there's Timmy's sock. So that's blame. And so once you get past that and you start to, it's almost like you have to think differently. And we have thought patterns and we have generational beliefs. Some of it's in our DNA. You can change that as well. Everything is energy. Right. So switching any situation into the energy of gratitude. And you might say, well, what do I have to be thankful for in that situation? Look for it. You can find it.
I'm going to have to go back and listen to all of this and take notes. I think it's fascinating, and definitely I can apply a lot of what you're saying in my life, I know. So how do you think gratitude can be healing?
It talks about it in the scriptures. If you don't give thanks to God for all things. Okay, all means 100%. And I know God bless the people who have lost a loved one, a spouse, a child. I don't know because I haven't experienced that. But you go, well, how do you find gratitude in that? The gratitude is that God has the plan of happiness and salvation. So we know we're going to all be together again. Sometimes you have to ask God, help me find gratitude in this. Gratitude will heal. Well, let me read this. This is from Melody Beatty. She wrote a book called Codependent No More. And this is what she wrote about gratitude. I had a client that gave this to me in a frame and I kept it in my massage room, but it's beautiful. Gratitude unlocks the fullness of life. It turns what we have into enough and more. It turns denial into acceptance, chaos to order, confusion to clarity. It can turn a meal into a feast, a house into a home, a stranger into a friend. Gratitude makes sense of our past, brings peace for today, and creates a vision for tomorrow.
Yeah, that is beautiful.
Melody Beatty.
Yeah.
And you can actually just Google it and it'll come up and you can print it off. It's Beattie. And it's Melody with a D. So one of the things that she talks about in her book about how she just lived in this shanty and she was so angry and she was praying one day and it's like, fine, be grateful. I'm like, for what? I don't have anything. And she said she looked over in the corner and she's like, okay, I'm thankful for the floor and for this filthy rug. And she went over and pulled the corner back and there was this wooden floor. And she was poor. She couldn't do anything, but she ripped the rug up and she oiled up the floor and it was beautiful. And things started to change. Okay. So when you stay in the energy of gratitude, you attract more things that you will be grateful for. The opposite of that is if you have victim energy and you believe you're a victim, you attract more experiences that make you a victim. That's how energy work works.
So I read once, it was in a parenting book actually, but what you focus on, you get more of. And it
absolutely
like that.
It is because like energy attracts like energy. So even in the engineer world, I mean, not that I'm an engineer, but I have a nephew who's an engineer. And I said, do you know about the piezoelectric effect? And he said, yes. And I was thinking, oh, I know something an engineer knows. I'm getting smarter. But when they build bridges, he was telling me, you have to get the frequency exact or the bridge will collapse. So if you want to attract love and light and peace and joy, your spirit body has to project that. And not just in your conscious mind, like, okay, well, I guess I'll go around with peace and joy. Not like that, but literally think, I'm going to put out gratitude. I'm going to be grateful for the person who cut in front of the line because maybe I shouldn't be there. Maybe that 5 minutes that is going to hold me back will keep me from getting in a car accident. We don't know all the details. So that's where gratitude, if you can find the gratitude in the smallest of things and the big things, it is a game changer as far as your energy and what you're going to attract.
I love it. I love it so much.
Yeah.
So I noticed in reading my scriptures that there's a pattern of remembering God's blessings, remembering all the things that he did for Moses and the children of Israel and forward. And then gratitude, having gratitude for the things that he's done for us. And then feeling joy, that there's joy. Where there's gratitude, there's joy. And do you notice that also in your energy work, that pattern?
I noticed that with myself. Just the more gratitude that I had, the more joy that I felt. So when you focus on what you're grateful for, what you have, instead of complaining about what you don't have, you start to recognize more of what you do have. Recognizing, acknowledging it, whether it's physical, mental, spiritual, emotional, social, financial, the list can go on. If you set your intention, whether you pray, meditate, whatever it is that you do, that your heart is completely filled with the energy of gratitude, and send that out into the universe, send that out into the energy field, if you will. And that's what you're going to attract more of, is things to be grateful for. I know there's one part in the Book of Mormon where they had won a war and they just did a fast for gratitude.
They say, do a prayer of only gratitude instead of the want list, what you want, but use that time to just pour out your heart in gratitude for all the blessings that you do have instead of the wish list.
I can testify that that works. Mm-hmm. That when you just say prayers, most of my prayers are gratitude. In fact, I give thanks for what I don't have, but what I desire.
Exactly. I love that. The pre-prayer kind of like as if it already is.
Yes.
I have a friend that I've witnessed it happen on several different occasions. And I watch her and have experienced her talk that into existence.
Absolutely.
Whatever it is that she has in her heart that she wants of righteous, always of righteous wanting. And I've watched it happen.
Yes. And it can be the smallest things up to the biggest things. And one of the things that it's important to remember is having gratitude for all things, even things you might not have in your life, but you desire, and then let go of God's will. Because if it's not his will, it's not going to be for your highest good. Exactly.
We don't want it if it isn't
exactly.
his will.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so just keep saying prayers of gratitude of things that you desire, whether it's physical, mental, spiritual, emotional, even financial. Put it out there. And if it's God's will, done.
Right.
It's that simple.
Right.
So yes, gratitude is really focusing on it. And you'll hear in the scriptures, the prophet, the apostles all talk about gratitude and having gratitude in all things. And all means 100%, but it does take practice.
Oh my goodness. Yes. And it's like, yeah, except for this. My brain wants to go, well, yeah, I'll have gratitude except for this. It's just like when I hear let go, let God, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to. But first, let me get in there and try to fix this.
Well, you can be like my client who said, I pray and then I go out and try to answer my own prayers. I said, well, how's that working? He said, it's not.
Doesn't really.
Yeah. And so again, it's finding gratitude in the little things. I don't know, the pillow you have, the blanket, the bed, the roof over your head, the meal, your plants are growing. I mean, the list is endless of what we can be grateful for. And it's the small things sometimes that can then add up to bigger things. Sometimes people have a hard time shifting that. Why me? Why is this happening? God doesn't love me. He's not answering my prayers. If you just move all that to the side and let it go and shift it into gratitude for the smallest thing. Maybe you can be grateful that you can kneel down and pray.
Absolutely.
Maybe you can be grateful for the hot water that comes through the shower. As I started becoming more aware of gratitude, I started being more grateful for things. You can be grateful for your bills. So when I first started doing this energy work, one of my mentors, Julie, she said it at a group one time. She said, be grateful for your bills. And I thought, so silliest thing I've ever heard. But she said, when you're writing out your check, people don't do that anymore, but anytime you're sending a payment or whatever, you do it in the energy of gratitude. Because if you have a bill and you're making a check out, you're paying your bill. Be grateful. Maybe it's for the power. I'm grateful that I have power, grateful that I have the money to pay this power bill. Boom.
Exactly.
I'm thinking I could see how sometimes people could feel that and want to go it alone without God. And so what role do you see God playing in all of that?
Because everything we have, everything we know, everything we're going to have, everything we have had is because of God. We don't have anything without him. If we don't give him credit for all things, the gratitude doesn't matter.
Right.
You can be grateful that he sent you a person that helped you, but it's because of him. It's not because of the person. Other than maybe they listened to inspiration and that you can be grateful, but giving gratitude to God for all things that you have and all experiences. Gratitude for our eternal worthiness. Our worth is infinite. That's because of God. And so keeping him at the top of who and what and why we're grateful is the most important thing.
Thank you. I like that.
All I can tell you is that I started shifting my thoughts to being grateful to God for all things, and it changed my life. It changed my life physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, socially, and financially. It changed my whole life. I prayed for new friends and I got new friends, Sherry. that I'm really grateful for. And so when you have an experience that you've prayed and you're grateful, like it's already happened, then you also have to say a prayer of gratitude when it is completed because of the level of awareness and consciousness that it brings you to, which is higher than being angry or having doubt or being scared. You don't want to have fear.
I think it comes down to faith. Expressing gratitude is an act of faith, I think.
I agree with you 100%. And it goes together. You have faith, you express gratitude for what you want or what you already have, and then you let go of the outcome. Sometimes when you ask for things or you show gratitude for something that's not even there yet, you have to let go of the outcome of how it's going to come.
Or when.
Or when, yes. So Boyd K. Packer said, faith is not about religion. Faith is about creation. That just hit me like a ton of bricks. So the example I can think of is this house that I'm building.
I wanted to mention that, but I was like, well, maybe she doesn't want to go there. But
no,
I mean, I watched that happen with you. I watched you say, it came to my mind that maybe I would move and then things just fell into place, one thing after the other, so quickly that I think you were even shocked and were like, whoa, 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 whoa.
So I've been gone a year and 2 months and I'm finally getting to where, wow, this really is happening. So I ended my business, my 20-year business out of my home, got a renter, got rid of 90% of my belongings, shipped my car to North Carolina, got in my truck and drove to North Carolina, thinking that I was going to live in the upstairs of my daughter's house for, 3 to 6 months. It's been a year and 2 months. And there were times that I'm like, is this really going to happen? So I just started praying and I ended up having to sell my house, which I didn't want to do. It took me a minute to get over that. But then I found gratitude in the fact that I had the money to build the home out here that I want. And now things are just rolling. There were 6 people here today that we've been waiting for months for the county and permits and things like that. And everybody that I needed to come out was out here today at the same time. And so even my son-in-law, he's like, I can't believe it. And I said, my prayers are very intentional and the gratitude is real. Gratitude that I have the money to do it. Gratitude that I have people to do it. My son-in-law can help me because it's going to be really cool. And so it took faith for me. I mean, I was 66 years old when I packed up my stuff and moved across the country, not knowing, a thriving business, tons of friends, lots of clients. And I just was like, okay, I'm going to move. And I did.
Yeah, I watched it happen. Mm-hmm. Even though I was secretly praying against you.
Yeah.
I wasn't really, but just kind of a little tiny bit. I didn't want her to go. But honestly, when you love somebody so much, you just really want what's best for them. And so I did.
I just want to do God's will, whatever his will is for me. And I know it was the right thing for me to move. And I don't know why. Maybe it's for me. Maybe it's for my grandchildren. Maybe it's for I don't know. But it's all working out.
I'm so happy about that. And
thank you.
Every good thing that is going to come your way, you are absolutely deserving of all those blessings. I am so excited for you. And I love this new change for you. And I'm going to come out and visit you. I'm going to come
absolutely. We'll go to the beach.
Coming out. Yeah. It's going to happen. John really will. You'll laugh and you'll say, oh, there he is. He's on my porch. Okay, we're here. We're here to visit.
Okay, I would love it.
Teri, is there some place that somebody could go to find out more about the light switch if they wanted to?
Yes, we have Instagram, Facebook, and a website, and it's Energy Healing with Light. So if you just type that in, you'll find us on Instagram, Facebook, and our website is the same, energyhealingwithlight.com.
Okay. Awesome. Because people can learn how to do this themselves for themselves.
Absolutely. Yep. My most important saying is be your own guru.
Thank you so much. This has been amazing. And I can't wait to re-listen to all this.
Well, you're welcome.
It's a lot to take in, isn't it?
It's a whole different way of looking at life. I feel like when I learned this, that the box was taken off of my head and I was available to see more. And isn't that what we seek? More light and knowledge, but you have to be open to receiving it.
Right.
So ask questions, ask God questions. He'll answer them.
Sometimes I'm afraid to ask. I don't know that I want all of what's like, oh, you want to know how to be more loving? Here, I'll put this person in your life for you. You're welcome.
Have gratitude for that person, Sherry.
Yeah, right. I'm going to re-listen to my own podcast.
Okay. A great idea.
Kim and I are going to listen again. Teri, thank you so much, dear friend. I love you so much.
Well, thank you. And I love you too. And it was nice to meet you, Kim. And hopefully I get to meet you face to face one day. But thank you guys for having me. It's always fun. I could talk about this for hours.
And don't be surprised when we contact you another time and say, will you talk to us about this or that or something else?
Yeah, let's do it.
Sherry was 100% right. You are amazing.
Oh, you guys you're too kind, and I'm grateful for both of you.
Have an awesome day, Tara. Love you so much.
Thanks. Love you guys.
So Sherry, that was amazing. I'm so glad she was able to come on. In closing, I just wanted to read a quote from Dieter Uchtdorf. He said, "We can choose to be grateful no matter what. This type of gratitude transcends whatever is happening around us. It surpasses disappointment, discouragement, and despair. It blooms just as beautifully in the icy landscape of winter as it does in the pleasant warmth of summer. When we are grateful to God in our circumstances, we can experience gentle peace in the midst of tribulation. In grief, we can still lift up our hearts in praise. In pain, we can glory in Christ's atonement. In the cold of bitter sorrow, we can experience the closeness and warmth of heaven's embrace. We sometimes think that being grateful is what we do after our problems are solved, but how terribly short-sighted that is. How much of life do we miss by waiting to see the rainbow before thanking God that there is rain? Being grateful in times of distress does not mean that we are pleased with our circumstances. It does mean that through the eyes of faith, we look beyond our present-day challenges. This is not a gratitude of the lips, but of the soul. It is a gratitude that heals the heart and expands the mind." And I just love that quote. So until next time, thank you for joining us here on Lemonade and Sunshine.
We would love to hear from you.
Yes, we really would. So please give us your feedback.
And let us know if there's any topics you'd like us to cover.
And how you have found the sunshine with the lemons in your lives.
And how do they give us feedback, Kimberly?
You can find us, Lemonade and Sunshine, on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple iTunes. Please give us a review and rating. It really helps us as a new show.
Oh yeah, it absolutely does. So until next time, we hope that you can feel the sunshine.
And we hope you will tune in next week to Lemonade and Sunshine.